So I want to dedicate the rest of the show to this incredible segment that Amy produced on the Charlie Kirk assassination investigation, which I don't know what to think about it. It just feels super shady.
Of course, yeah. I mean, there's been so many more things since we last discussed this topic. This is fun because obviously the last time we had this conversation, somebody walked off the panel. I want to let you all know my goal is to induce that same reaction today. Just kidding. No. Come back, Caroline. Come back. So it's interesting because when we spoke about this last time, the very last point before everything kind of derailed was we were talking about this potential for foreign intelligence to be involved, specifically some people making allegations against the Mossad, right? Or other foreign governments. And, you know, what's interesting is I was very clear in, asserting that I do not believe at this point that Israel or the Mossad were involved in the assassination of Charlie Kirk because at that time there was no such evidence that revealed that that was the case. But what's interesting is it turns out that that was very much by design because we actually have Joe Kent, who is one of Tulsi Gabbard's closest advisors, who was trying to investigate any links into foreign intelligence. And it turns out maybe there were some interesting things popping up. And Kash Patel was extremely mad about this.
Didn't want it investigated.
Did not want it investigated whatsoever. So much so that they actually ended up holding a White House meeting. Connor, I believe I have an article there. If you can pull that up here. And I can just read off my notes here. A roundtable meeting between Patel, Kent, Gabbard, Vice President J.D. Vance, and the White House Chief of Staff and senior DOJ officials was held at the White House. Kent told administration officials that he was granted access to FBI files by a low-ranking agency official. The Trump administration officials were worried that Kent's probe into foreign interference could provide ammunition to Robinson's defense lawyers, who could then argue there was more than one suspect involved in the murder of Charlie Kirk and the assassination of Charlie Kirk. So they're afraid of watering down the prosecution's case against Tyler Robinson, and for that reason, they are apparently unwilling to further investigate any leads that correlate to potentially foreign intelligence ties. Since then, guys, there have also been a host of other very unusual things that have happened. We're going to just speed run through all of these. I think it's really important to note that just a couple of weeks leading up to the assassination of Charlie Kirk, we do have, I'm so sorry, I'm probably going to butcher her name, maybe one of you know. She was the FBI Salt Lake City field officer, Meteb Sayed.
Perfect.
I believe. I'm so sorry if I mispronounced that, but she actually was known to be an absolute superstar in her field, to really leave absolutely no stone unturned. And just a couple of weeks before the assassination of Charlie Kirk, she was also fired by Kash Patel. So we have Kash Patel fire this individual who had so many accolades. It doesn't seem like there was any reason that I've researched of why she should have been fired. And we also have him preventing further investigation into foreign agents being involved.
Yes, so this is crazy. So basically there was a private jet that kept traveling from Cairo, Egypt, and it was basically like stalking every Turning Point, religious event that was
Turning Point Faith, yes.
Turning Point Faith, thank you for correcting me. I think that's strange that basically they wanted to investigate that. To see if maybe there might be a foreign link, and Kash Patel shot that down.
Yeah.
That's so interesting that they're using the same approach to Tucker Carlson that they're doing to people like Candace Owens, who was one of the first prominent voices, really loud voices, to say, let's look into the flight data of this plane that basically flew out of Utah just moments before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. If you have nothing to hide, why are you not allowing people to explore every potential avenue. Don't you want to get to the bottom of it?
Correct.
Doesn't Charlie deserve better?
That was the N88KG airplane.
Yes.
And now, so what's extremely interesting about all of this and why there's been even further speculation is because there are a bunch of terms, such as that plane, the N88KG, but also a number of other terms that were correlated to the assassination. So, for example, the name of the alleged assassin, Tyler James Robinson, the Lucy Center, which is a location in which Charlie Kirk was assassinated, the Mauser 98, which is the alleged weapon that was utilized to pull this off, the hospital where Charlie was treated, the doctors who all worked on Charlie. There was evidence of Google searches being made on Google Trends days before the assassination of Charlie Kirk for these specific terms. Days prior, weeks prior, absolutely flatline. Nobody's looking these things up. And then all of a sudden, a couple of days beforehand, we see these spikes. And then naturally, after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, we see these spike up even further. What's interesting, Anna, is these pings came out of two main hotspots. One of them was Washington, D.C., and the other was Israel.
Are you serious?
I am serious. Do you have the video that I sent you, Connor?
Question. When was the first time you heard the name Tyler Robinson or the Lucy Center, a Mauser 98? For me, and I assume many of you, it was in the days and weeks after Charlie Kirk's tragic assassination on September 10th. And you better believe I've been doing some Googling since then, right? Who is Tyler? What are the access points to the Lucy Center rooftop? What kind of damage can a .30-06 caliber bullet do? But what if I told you somebody, maybe multiple somebodies, were searching those terms before September 10th? What do you think about that?
Before the shooting. Well, there's Washington, D.C. at 11 a.m., the day before the Charlie Kirk shooting. And you'll see here where the news finally broke that it was, in fact, Tyler James Robinson. But notice that. That's weird. That's weird.
That is weird, I gotta say.
So there was a couple of other really unusual ones as well. So Tony Graff, the judge selected to preside over the Charlie Kirk assassination trial, and the judge he replaced, Rupert Lunan, were both the subject of unique Google searches from both Washington and Israeli IP addresses before the assassination, as well as the construction company that actually basically covered up the entire crime scene after the fact. Did you guys see how quickly the crime scene was
I thought
essentially?
that was strange.
It was strange.
Wouldn't you want to keep
They didn't
things
just
as they
cover
are?
it up.
They completely remodeled it.
Exactly.
It's impossible to go back and retrieve
they poured
any
cement
evidence.
into the area.
Exactly.
It was a complete, comprehensive.
Guys, what is going
makeup.
So not
on?
only that, but that construction company was also subject to unique searches both before.
Where's the furry lover?
Right. Oh, that's the other thing.
Where's the furry lover?
Lance Twiggs has disappeared. So apparently no one has heard from Lance Twiggs in the period of the last 6 weeks or so. Lance Twiggs has not been back to the premises that Lance shared with Tyler Robinson, their supposed $1,800 a month love nest. Hasn't been back there. Lance's car is currently parked outside of his parents' house, a state over, but nobody has been able to actually.
And is that a top priority of the FBI to try to find him?
Right, apparently
Apparently
not. No, I mean, nobody even knew that this individual was missing. I mean, the whole story was centered around these furries and these people having prior knowledge of the Charlie Kirk assassination. And yeah, there were some weird things. Some people from that Discord server, some people from that community seemed to know that it was going to take place with some of the stuff that they were writing.
Exactly, Amy. You would think that given everything that happened with the Epstein files, how they bungled the release, how they said that everything was on Pam Bondi's desk, and the next minute, nothing was on her desk, she had nothing to release. Maybe they would take a page from the book and understand that the American people have lost all trust in the FBI, in the CIA, and be more upfront and not try to conceal attempts to get at the truth. Because I can bet you the more they try to hide the truth, the more people are going to dig. And we are the media now. We are the media. We are the new media, and we're not going to take talking points or marching orders from mainstream media anymore.
Or Mark Levin.
Or Mark Levin.
All right, let's watch this and then let's discuss.
You guys have heard. Once is happenstance, twice is coincidence, 3 times is enemy action.
That's the medical examiner. It is a woman named Dr. Deidre Weiss Amaro, and she blew in from California. She was announced as the new state medical examiner in May of 2024. So I'm interested in learning as much as I can about this medical examiner. I'd like to know more about this medical examiner.
You know who else wanted to know more about Dr. Deidre Amaro? It's our friends over there in the state of Israel. But check out this date, June 30th, 2025, a sudden spike in the interest of the head medical examiner of the state of Utah, Dr. Deidre Amaro, emanating from, once again, the state of Israel, for reasons unknown. What about Timpanogos Regional Hospital, the hospital where Charlie Kirk was declared dead? Well, there's pretty much no interest in Timpanogos Regional Hospital in the state of Israel because why would there be? Except this spike that happened about a month before Charlie Kirk's death. That is very odd. And it was a surgeon from this hospital that told us that Charlie Kirk was a quote unquote man of steel and that his body stopped a bullet that would typically just go through everything, and it was an absolute miracle.
All right,
we don't know yet which surgeon supposedly...
He goes through more examples. For the sake of time, I mean, what do you ladies think about this?
That's insane. Someone was on Piers Morgan a couple weeks ago and said that claim by the doctor is just not physically possible. A bullet of that magnitude going at that speed, it would have tore through. He's lucky it didn't kill the person behind him.
Right.
So for him to say, oh, this is because Charlie Kirk internally had some sort of physical characteristic, that's not possible.
So I don't know what to make of this other than I don't trust that the FBI is handling this or investigating this properly. I want to know if the local authorities or the state authorities are investigating this separately. I think they should. I don't know what to make of it because none of this is adding up.
I think going back to the Joe Kent, Kash Patel piece of this, I would like to know who leaked that to the press. You know, that's very clear that that was an intentional leak. I don't know if that came from the FBI, if it came from ODNI. I do know a little bit about Joe Kent. For the audience, you know, Joe Kent is a widow himself. He lost his wife to a suicide bombing when she was serving in the military in the Middle East in one of those fabulous, endless, pointless wars that our politicians love. And he's also a former, when he got out of the military, he became a contractor for the CIA. So if Joe Kent is looking into and wanting to fact check some of the work that's going on in the FBI, I'm going to take that as good faith on Joe Kent's part. And to your point about credibility, they have absolutely bungled the release of the Epstein files.
Yes.
I mean, it's to the point where on the president's TikTok and the White House's TikTok, the #1 comment is, where's the Epstein files?
Yeah.
Because to your point, you had Pam Bondi on TV going, oh, they're on my desk. They're on my desk. I'm going to release them right now. Really? And no, it is complete. And I feel bad for Kash Patel because I almost feel like he fell on the sword for that because FBI is subservient to DOJ. I feel like he had to go to that congressional hearing afterwards and get grilled, and I thought Pam Bondi should be in that seat having to answer those questions. But there's serious credibility issues at an institution that already had credibility issues leading into it. That's why Kash Patel was appointed into that job.
Right.
But they have to correct their credibility on these issues. By the way, we still don't know what happened at the assassination attempt on President Trump's life.
I
We
know.
still have no
And by the way, it was
answers.
a similar thing with
None.
the keywords. I remember
So
there were
get us
posts
answers.
circulating at the time that there were actually prior searches correlated to the assassination same way here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
Crazy.
like there's
Instead of-
so much more than meets the eye.
Absolutely.
You know?
And instead of getting to the bottom of it and offering the American people the truth, right now we see internecine warfare at the Department of Justice because Pam Bondi has latched onto this situation to make Kash Patel look bad.
Yeah, and it's like, we
I don't know if you
know,
guys
but
saw,
let's-
but yesterday...
let's get it out there. Let's ask.
Yesterday, it was disclosed that Kash Patel used a government jet
Right.
to go see his girlfriend in
Oh,
Pennsylvania
yeah, so-
sing a song.
I saw that.
And I don't think that leak was coincidentally timed.
I don't
No.
either.
Exactly. I think it was very purposely planted. Kash Patel may not have had Pam Bondi's back as much as she would have liked to during the Epstein saga. And right now, I think the chickens
She's
are coming
returning
home.
the favor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly.
I just want to say in closing, I don't think there's anything wrong with people asking questions.
I agree.
And one thing I'm so sick of is people saying, "Oh, are you anti-Trump? You're not a real conservative. You're not MAGA." Soon they're going to be holding up signs for all of us if we keep espousing the same rhetoric.
Someone's
But
gonna attack
guys,
us today.
guess what? I didn't trust the government when the Democrats were in power. We still shouldn't fully trust them now
No, I
until
agree.
they prove. And I feel like that should be the baseline that we operate under is don't fully trust the government, okay? Obviously, you elect the person most in alignment with your values, who you trust the most, but, you know...
But then you have to wait and see if they actually...
Follow through.
Keep their promises, and I think...
They're not.
The
this
Epstein
administration
files
should be doing more to restore people's faith.
And one last thing, there are bound to be people out there who are going to attack us for the things that we have discussed today, and I want to address them directly. We care about this country. We love this country more deeply than the neoconservatives and the people sending billions of dollars overseas and the people bombing women and children. We love America. And because we love America, we ask questions and we try to better this and make it a more perfect union.
Yeah, and there should be justice for Charlie Kirk and his family, period.
Yes.
We should know the truth about what actually happened that day.
What's up, guys? Amy Dangerfield here. If you liked that video and you want to watch more like it, I need you to click over to YouTube, search up Her Take, and click subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.